Cheekbone. The cheekbone takes up the lateral and upper part of the middle third of the face, a centered relief on a bony structure. The malar eminence, completing the zygomatic arch with its temporal origin, inserting into the masseter and zygomaticus major and minor muscles. The cheekbone is located under the lateral part of the eye ring and outer canthus, laterally to the mid-jugal. Its relief is due to the facial skeleton, but also the malar and deep suborbital adipose compartments in which fat loss and slippage can weaken the cheekbone. Bone resorption only occurs much later. Defect in the physiological development of the bone or insufficient fat explains the frequency of this indication in young people. Trauma is more due to asymmetry. The main anatomic precautions for injecting into the cheekbone is the infraorbital artery and the intraorbital nerve, a sensory nerve that starts in the infraorbital foramen of the maxillary bone. The ideal cheekbone is not too high, not too low, but centered on the relief of the malar bone. It must follow a soft, forward convex curve and continue in line with the midjugal area to the zygomatic arch. During the injection, the needle insertion is high, corresponding to the anterior part of the zygomatic arch, below and outside the outer canthus of the eye. This high insertion ensures optimal anatomical matching with the arch relief. Injections are done in the malar area using a fanning technique, horizontally toward the mid-jugal and respecting the lower limit of the eye ring, expanding downward to an imaginary line linking the alar triangle to the tragus. Injections can also be made using adjacent bolus techniques, the pillar technique, when volume loss requires greater projection. The main bolus meets the summit of the malar eminence, and contiguous boluses are set up based on the physiognomy of the area being treated to ensure a harmonious connection with the zygomatic arch at the back and the centrofacial region at the front. After disinfecting, make a pre-hole with a needle to the dermic-hypodermic junction and insert the cannula parallel to the cutaneous plane in the desired injection plane. Make the retrotracing injection by removing the syringe to obtain a linear and homogeneous Radiesse deposit. Without removing the end of the cannula from the skin, change its direction and inject as many new lines as needed. The adjacent product lines are fanned out while limiting the number of injection points. Massage and shape the injected areas to evenly spread the product. With Radiesse, the product deposit and correlated correction are assessed immediately. The fanning technique can be combined with the sandwich technique on several planes depending on volume restoration required, with the netting technique with the fan starting at the second insertion point slightly lower than the first. The cheekbone can also be injected using a needle by these same techniques or on adjacent bolus techniques, the pillar technique, when volume loss requires greater projection. The results obtained using the Radiesse injection are as follows during cheekbone restoration.